Honestly, I am in such a suicidal state at the moment. But this article happened to be something I came across today. And it made me both laugh and feel better about myself in a way. Not because the guy had to go through this, but because everybody else is able to see just how stupid this police force is. Suicidal ideations, self-hatred and all the other disgusting, horrible, demonic issues have not gone away. But I must admit, when I came across this article, it did make me laugh, even the way it's written. Man carrying home his gardening tools arrested by armed police in Manchester. Read that again. Man carrying home his gardening tools arrested by armed police in Manchester. I just heard shouting behind me and then 2 armed officers shouting at me to drop the knife. And then they turned me around, pushed me up against my house, cuffed me, and then they arrested me. It's just look at him. Does he look like someone who's going to murder someone? Worried it will affect his future employment. I just look at him. He reminds me a bit of David Bowie, but look at this guy. He doesn't look like someone who's got... I mean, you can clearly tell he's got an allotment. I don't know if this is just, what's the clickbait or something, or... Oh my god, they did this to me. No, this is actually not funny. Oh my gosh. I've just been asked that even to this very weekend. Right, can I just quickly say something? Yesterday, a paid street cleaner asked me for my food that I was eating because he saw me putting it in my bag because I wasn't able to eat the full thing. And then he goes, have you finished with that? And then he kept persistently saying, I've left my wallet at home, I've left my wallet at home, I've left... People think I'm autistic. Anyway, this is not funny. This is actually... I was obviously in shock. I was struggling to think straight, struggling to talk properly because I was pretty scared. Well, so would I. Imagine going home to your allotment just trying to attend to your vegetables and the police officers annoy you. I had to explain in very basic terms what an allotment is. No. Stop it. Please tell me this is a joke. That is terrible. Look how innocent this guy is, and it's just... I think... How do I say this? Obviously the way he looks has been a factor in this. You know, the large eyes that probably look like they're staring at you a lot, but he doesn't mean to, it's just his eyes. Genetically, he can't change that. He had to come back from his allotment early and trim his hedge. It's just the way they've written it, with one of his tools when police turned up on his doorstep. Oh my gosh. I bet you these police officers don't even feel any embarrassment or shame or remorse because they themselves are mentally unwell. So it's like lunchtime. Oh, it was an idiot in the public. I was trying to be overly polite in the police station and trying to ingratiate myself with them in a way because I felt like my future was in their hands. Basically, it was up to them whether they decided I was committing a crime or not. Do you see how they treat people who are slightly different looking? no disrespect to this brother, but obviously, you know, he looks a little bit out of the ordinary in a nice way. But, oh my gosh. Oh, for God's sake, they took his peeling knife off him. Literally, this was my worry, right? I've worked in schools because I've been sectioned and detained by the police wrongly. I will never be able to work within my run. Oh my God, I know exactly why they've done this. I know exactly why they've done this to me, because they wanted me to not be able to go into any sort of care assistant work or schools work or any job that requires a DBS check. There's a lot more to this guy's going to get off with, you know, he's not going to be arrested or anything or detained. I just know that because he's come to the media. Wait, what's actually happened? And if I got that, I might even like an apology of them, but I know the chances of that are next to nothing. I shouldn't have been arrested by armed officers. I want my caution removed, and then I'd like my garden. Oh my gosh, they took his gardening tools as well. And if I got that, I might even like an apology of them, but idiots. What was he going to do? Go and kill somebody with a garden knife when he's clearly got a gun? Honestly. I wonder if this is just literally written to annoy people, or if it's a true story. Fake news? Probably. But as somebody who has been wrongly detained, sectioned and cautioned, etc., this is not appropriate. This behaviour from the GMP is not appropriate. I remember where I was in the cell, they were asking this other lady who looked a little bit strange. She had ginger hair that was cut short into like a Chucky doll sort of thing. And they went, "Are you autistic? Do you have any mental health conditions?" And then she had like this Scouse accent, and she goes, "Well, obviously I'm going to have mental health conditions." Like, I could totally relate. But they mistreat people who are slightly different looking. There's an institutional culture of abuse and bullying towards people who look different. And in my case, I also happen to be a person of colour and undeveloped and disabled and skin diseased and marginalised in so many other ways, and I get bullied horrendously by total strangers, including children, teenagers, adults. And increasingly I've been asked, "Are you autistic? Has anybody ever told you you're autistic?" No, they haven't. I've never even been diagnosed with any learning disorders. Well, to be fair, I've never had any proper assessments, but that's besides the point. They've taken away I believe the police have even interfered with my ability to get my medical short-term driving licence, provisional driving licence back, because I've not had it for 2 years. I've been chasing it up with them, with the DVLA, with the doctors, and there's been no progress. And they get to drive around in their stupid police vehicles, terrorising innocent members of the public, whilst actual perpetrators, drug users, paedophiles, criminals, racists, rapists, murderers, molesters and people of that sort are allowed to just frolic about. In fact, they get treated with more respect and dignity than an innocent person who is wrongly detained. Close down the GMP. I can't be the only one to have that viewpoint and that wish. Close down the GMP. Also close down the GMMH. Also close down all other affiliated organisations who enable the abuse, or what I would like to call police brutality. Whether it's psychological abuse, physical abuse or other forms of abuse, the GMP are responsible for several crimes towards innocent people, and they will be held accountable. And whether they like it or not, they will have to engage in investigations, because in my case, for example, none of the investigations that should have taken place have even started. And before I die, I will make sure that at least one of the incidents that I have reported, specifically and especially the university violation, of which I remain a victim, will be carried out. Even if I have to do it when I'm 50 years old, 60 years old, 70 years old, if I'm still alive by that time, I will fully cooperate in the investigation, and I will get the closure and the justice and the compensation and the transparency and the apologies and all of the outcomes that I desire, require and deserve. These are not just empty words. I am prophesizing this and I am affirming these as fact, because not only am I saying these words, I have actively made formal complaints according to their policies, according to the complaints process, and I have also spoken to numerous professionals outside of the police, outside of the university, locally, regionally, nationally and even globally, including a Professor Emeritus of Psychology, who agreed that what the university did is wrong, and who also said that from his experience of working in university over many years, the staff will always protect their own rather than the people that they are there to serve. So he understands basically about institutional abuse and the protection of perpetrators rather than victims. But that didn't really help me, because at the end of the day he was like trying to be kind, but he can't contact the GMP on my behalf and say, right, sort it out, or he can't exactly reverse what's happened to me. So as much as I appreciated some kind of support in that sense, the issue is what's been done has been done and the damage has already been done. But my request throughout all of this is to hold the people accountable, just like I'm having to serve the sentences of being homeless and still being abused over characteristics I have no control over. I demand full accountability, transparency, apologies, compensation. This is not wishful thinking. Far too many people have been telling me, you're just going to have to accept it. It's done. They're not going to say sorry. It's not about that. It's about being held accountable for what you've done. And mark my words, they will be held accountable.